ladies and gents, welcome back. Our third game of the series is well underway with our draft already starting. So I know you guys would love to watch our lovely faces, but we're going to jump into the draft screen instead. So let's look what's going on here. Same type of picks going on back and forth with the Weaver. Again, being secured as the first pick for Team Unknown. They must be feeling happy. Getting to secure Weaver in the second game as a first pick definitely led to some good things for them. And they get to do it again. So maybe some kind of a repeat draft, at least in one or two pieces, because they came out good with that laning stage. I think even stronger than they did in game number 2. And it felt like a defining factor for their game too.
It did, and they also seem to prefer these drafts where they have one hyper carry and they save them with and boost them with as many possible abilities. And Weaver is, of course, absolutely ideal for that. The time lapse probably the best saving ability in the game.
Also, the options you can go with this Weaver, like we've already seen an Orchid Weaver. Sometimes you see a Solar Crest being picked up on Weaver.
Spirit Vessel
most of the time, yeah, that too, because it's just such a great damage item that you have to combine with. You have the bug giving the vision. You've got Spirit Vessel for take damage, and Elsie kind of spells Glass Cannon carry that we're gonna be saving with Prestige attack because we have a hard spell against the Mars Spear. It doesn't necessarily go that way, but it does kind of feel like it, and you want to have. Well, I was thinking Luna, but Luna's banned, so. But something similar.
It really suits their MO, doesn't it? Like, I feel like we're really getting to know this unknown team. I don't think their strategy is that unknown anymore.
Yeah, they're no longer unknown to us, at least.
5 seconds.
But their execution in the previous game was excellent, and as much as I doubt early Legion Commander pickups, I like seeing this hero come out when you know that it's going to have not just good save options for a couple of different spells, but also there's going to be good dual targets, because she does kind of need the snowball. Like, support style Legion Commander is often a sad sight, and a Legion Commander switch to POS 5 is not a favorite of mine, I gotta say. Just pick that Treant instead if that's something you want.
Remember that NA game we cast last year with a POS 5 LC and a POS 4 sniper?
No, I don't.
I'm glad you don't, because that was quite the something. That's when you're really trying to big brain your opponents and end up just having a big lump on your forehead.
Dire's ban.
So yeah, it could be a support LC, but I would like to see it in the off lane. But how do you see Elsie and Weaver together as a lane, though? Elsie is strong in the lane. Weaver is strong in the lane, a.k.a. stronger lane.
They certainly benefit each other. Like, Elsie is a great trader versus these melee carries. And then the benefit of a Weaver is that normally for supports, you sort of get stuck in trading with the other support instead of harassing the enemy carry, because the other support is going to be putting their body in the way. And you can't put your body in the way of a Weaver. A Weaver can always harass the carry as well, which is one of the great benefits of that hero. So whatever Interitus brings, if this is indeed the laning combination, whatever they bring on the safe lane is going to have either a lot of sustain or a lot of kill potential in order to push back against this never-ending pressure.
We have 5 carries and 1 mid band in the second phase. 1 flex pick in between, that being the Monkey King. But that's kind of like both teams recognizing the most important core bands or core picks on both ends.
Radiant's turn to royalist.
Try to start and build the puzzle from there. At least with this Bane, you're going for something very, very basic, very common. It's not too revealing. It's weird to pick a Bane into a Legion Commander because of the Prestige attack, but especially because of the Legion Commander, you want to pick this Bane because it's also a dual counter and a setup tool. And obviously, the Nightmare makes dueling nearly impossible.
I think what you mean is hilarious.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, it does look hilarious in a sense. True, but Press the attack is also a tool to remove Fiend's Grip, so it's kind of like they both counter each other's in different ways.
The reason that I've really seen a lot of success for Bane in this region is that a lot of these teams count on one hero and then usually one spirit hero to be their initiator. And solo initiating into a Bane is a death wish.
Yeah.
Oh, I respect that.
So they're going with the IO Gyro, and this is the first IO Gyro in the second phase double pick that I've seen in potentially since TI.
10 seconds to pick.
I presume you have seen Io Luna's first phase?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of IO Marses, IO Lunas and all, but
Mm.
talking about the second phase mainly, like when you have the double pick. I've been talking about this a lot. Do you go for a synergy combo, a very known dynamic duo in your second phase, and you end up having like an answer, and then you have two which the opponent has to answer to. So you have like a counter pick-ish type hero, and the other one that has free roam because it's your surprise pick. Sometimes you just go for like, hey, we have our own idea of this draft. Like we saw in the last game, we went for Ogre Medusa because we wanted to buff up the hero we wanted to buff, and then we picked the hero that was going to be buffed. So in that case, they had like an idea. It was the lane duo. A lot of the time you do see the pos 1 and 5 being picked together in the second phase, which is nice. But this straight up IO duo with the Gyrocopter, not that oftenly picked. But you mentioned you like the Bristleback pick. Why?
I do. Well, this LC lane was going to be a big harass lane one way or the other, but Bristleback can brawl with her. And this is also very much, this is a tempo pick. We know that Unknown is going to want to have the upper hand late game. They were always going to pick some form of really big hard carry here with somebody to support them. And the Bristleback just cuts through all of that farming nonsense. And he says, I'm storming up. You don't build damages yet. You build farming items. And you're not going to be able to take me down. Now, picking it into the Legion for the mid game is a little bit harder because, of course, she does turn you around. And this man will also certainly turn you around if he has a mind of it. He's going to be pushing you around a whole lot, depending on the amount of shards and Aghanim Scepters that he gets to buy. I don't dislike this Unknown team draft.
Imber Spirit.
How badly did they ruin your strategy?
You should have. Oh my god, I love Stanley Parable announcer. Oh my god, that has got to be the perfect answer right there.
What did it say?
Basically, the Stanley answer was like, "How badly did we ruin your strategy?" After the Ember Spirit pick, I was like, okay, sure thing.
Quite a bit.
We have a root tool, which is nice to have. This is gonna also annoy the Weaver and the LC, maybe even force an early press the attack. That opens up the Bane's game here. Stable matchup here. You're able to potentially dodge the Tidebringer. It's hard, but you can. You have a way to save yourself from X Mark. You have a tempo control hero able to rotate early into the side lanes. And with this Bristleback being a carry, I do like the amount of pressure Interitus is able to apply before Unknown starts to make the relocate plays around the map. Who do you really kill with a relocate rotation? Bristleback's hard to kill. Mars, if he picks up any tanky items early on, hard kill. Ember Spirit, you're not going to catch him. You don't have a reliable stun.
You certainly don't, and that's one of their big problems here. This Ember definitely has a game, and if the Ember has a game, he can be running at the IO, he can be running at the Weaver, and the only thing that you really have in order to lock him down is the Jewel, which, as we said, not all that reliable in a game with a Bane in it. There's a lot of moving parts to both drafts. There's random stuff that's jumping into my head right now. We're running another ranged carry into the Mars. We've got an IO without a lot of tools to protect the IO itself. We have an LC who's going to get ran at an awful lot, and there's this Mars Dark Willow combination who are going to really dominate the team fights for a while. The only counterplay that they really have is either relocate out or make sure that the boat lands.
Yep.
This could go either way. I am feeling that prediction of mine that we might have ourselves a proper Game 3 finisher on our hands.
Well, at least one thing that you can bring out of this draft as a result or a conclusion of Kip's wisdoms, I guess you could say. Like Beyonce once said, if you liked it, then you should have put a Bane on it.
My thanks will come later, when you least expect it.
I'll take that as a no.
Yeah, you should.
Well, we've got time for banter. We're in game 3 with our pre-game pause or game
Traditional.
I don't know, traditional. It's like a production pause in this case. How do you think the lanes are gonna go? In terms of if we have a scale of 3, in terms of 1 being 1 lane, 2 being 2 1 lanes, 3 being 3 1 lanes. How many lanes is Unknown gonna win? With their Kunkka mid, Gyro safe, and LC offlane. I feel like LC Weaver is going to be a win. But I don't know. I think Kunkka Ember is going to be a draw. And then the Gyro IO versus the Mars Willow, it's potentially 50-50 and another draw. So I feel like Unknown should win the laning stage with that 1 victory. That's kind of like what I'm thinking here.
Yeah, I do think that it very much comes down to the top lane as well. It's all about how much pressure this LC can put into the bristleback, and I'm wondering if they're going to lane the Weaver 4 or the IO 4. It is feeling on the IO, so it's probably pos 4 Weaver with Moonlight.
Yeah. At least Feeling has been Feeling has been playing his lane together with Arceus, so you would believe this IO is going to be laning together with this this gyrocopter. But I kind of agree with the idea here of potentially putting the Weaver as a pos 5 in terms of what happens after the laning stage. So you're still laning it as a 5, but you're playing it as a 4. Making Weaver the more hard supporter.
It's like there's arguments to be made for both. I was thinking about how vulnerable this IO is going to be if he doesn't get a lot of farm, but at the same time, a Spirit Vessel over on this Weaver, he is most likely going to be the carrier for that versus the Bristleback, which is very high priority this game.
Oh, you're looking for a quick ward placed in mid, but it's not there. We might actually get a level 1 brawl. Or not. That's like... the timing again. There's a rocket on its way onto the Bane. Bane does have Nightmare, so this will allow the Bane actually to prepare for a Nightmare dodge. This homing missile right here behind Soul. He's gonna see it on his way, on the way. Question is, who gets first blood and who gets killed in first blood? Because D-Flash is a potential, but Moonlight has already used Shikuchi. He's going to go in, get the Shikuchi damage, right-click once, going to run into a Willow root. So I'm thinking Weaver's going to die first. No Nightmare? Okay, that's a dead Bane. Never mind.
That's a dead Bane.
Bets have been refunded.
No. You don't want to take the Nightmare here because that makes your lane so much harder. So he was dead as he walked up.
There's a couple options there. Do you go for a worse spell for the laning stage? But still, at least you see quite a lot of Banes going for 0-1-2 instead of 0-2-1. So they decide to put 2 points into Nightmare instead of Brain Sap.
Which surprises me. Usually, I guess it's mostly that the Brain Sap secures the ability to trade, and after that the Nightmare is the setup spell.
Yeah, the Nightmare does triple your damage, and it is pure damage also that ticks, plus an extra second, so 5 times 15. That's like, what, 75
It's such
damage?
a value point.
Yeah, and plus the right clicks that you get in there, so... A value point, yeah, you want to have that at least. So I'm curious to see, what is Bane's actual build going to be here? Does he go for the 2 points in Nightmare? Do you want 2 points in Brain Sap? If you're trading with just one hero outside of the lane, you would like to pick up 2 points in Nightmare. If you're constantly in the lane dueling, you might look at Brain Sap for 2 points. Weaver Bane matchups have actually gone quite a lot with the Nightmare favor. I've seen this quite a few times now with the Weaver versus the Bane, where Bane wants 2 points in Nightmare instead. But we'll see. We'll see.
We will see. And it does make a lot of sense with the Weaver getting definitely most of his harass out of that Sakuchi as well. Just holding him still for a while will always benefit you.
Yeah. And since when you're out of the lane, you have much more distance to cover. So Nightmare also allows you to keep the Weaver in place, kind of die out the Shikuchi's long cooldown so the Weaver's not able to chase you around. That's what makes Weaver so strong right now as a +4, is you can't trade with the damage that the Weaver deals, despite being a pretty squishy support.
So far, lane's looking pretty good for this Bristleback though. Flash is keeping Moonlight off of his Bristle, and with the amount of sticks in this lane, it's going to be hard for anybody to bring anyone down.
Yep, that's a lot of shtick that has been brought from both ends here. And
Bottom lane, Bibolio.
actually not going to be enough on this this Dark Willow, but great aggression here from Unknown. Really reaching their limits here with this this IO Gyrocopter, knowing that they're able to fight this and having the regen advantage. And one thing I actually wanted to point out quickly, Weaver has started off this lane with a full upgraded wand without building brown boots in between, so he knows he's going to be tanking a lot of spells with this Bristleback. So, and same thing with the LC actually, yeah. So in this rare occasion of a Bristleback, you might just go straight for wand instead of have a stick in between. I like it.
Both sides just bullying each other. I'm concerned about that bottom lane though. Like, this Gyrocopter, yeah, he's taking a point in Rocket Barrage in order to be able to contest the lane, but that's a bad sign. Ideally you just want the stats, 1 point in the homing missile, everything else in the flak, and survive the lane with that IO in order to go take stacks in the jungle as fast as possible. Without the stats, that's going to be a lot harder already.
It is, but you're also kind of looking at there's nobody to stack the jungle right now. Weaver is locked in the lane because of the Bane, and IO can't really leave this Gyrocopter for too long. So they have to play close to each other the whole time. So that also kind of diminishes. D-Flash is in trouble though. Moonlight looking for a kill on Bane and should be able to get it with the Geminate attack coming off cooldown. Nightmare used. And Jazz, oh, very close there. The stick saves the Bane. And Bane also gets a salve timely off of the Courier. Couldn't have been a better timing for that.
Ah, that feels good, man. Well, one of the heroes that could still stack is Sol, who has been on this mid lane. He is slightly up ahead over this Ember Spirit right now, which is a good sign for him. As a Kunkka in this lane, you really need to play up and keep on bullying the Ember Spirit. You have no way to take his Flame Guard off, actually. So your only option is to keep on trading and to keep on pushing his wave out to make sure that he can't bully you. And Sol has been doing a good job of that.
Mid is also very even, 23-19 in terms of where this is going to move out from. Like CS.
And falling again on top.
Yeah, it's just a never-ending battle, is it? Just a constant fight. Seems to be the story here. And with this LC trying to make a run for it, 3 stick charges, 1 more spike required. FCR doesn't have it, plus the distance is already closed out with the Ember Spirit being able to run faster than the Bristle. 1 for 1. It's when you start, you know, like your personality who loves to pick a fight and then you don't know when to back down. This lane is exactly like that. You have people, I wouldn't say anger management issues, but definitely this is where you really vent your anger. You've got 2 setups, like 2 duos who just love to brawl.
Yeah, this is a bit like Friday Night at the Pub in the UK. And they're all saying you what mate to each other.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, only one of them actually has the voice line. But just imagine it for the other 3.
Imagine if they all had their own pub fighting lines.
Normally it's up to the players to supply those in whatever accent and swear words are local.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to see people's faces with how they react when they start messing with me in a bar and then I just start throat singing. You know, like, what's up with that? But Ryur actually gets a kill on Sol, and a lot of tips have been shared. So I feel like that's either a messed up combo or Ember just
Yeah.
fully outplaying it? I did not catch that.
Radiant's top tower is
I
under
have seen this happen before, where Kunkas overestimate their own damage output and keep on doing the man fight even after the Ember gets 6. But the Ember, you can see all 3 remnants have been expended. Actually gains a lot of burst damage while he can dodge your boat.
Yep. Yeah, but boat's dodgeable. Remnants are not, at least in the case of the Kunkka, unless you have your X mark somewhere else. So that
Your dancing shoes on.
dancing shoes on. Mars is going for the same build last game. Casual Helm of the Iron Well, which you could
Dire's
potentially
middle
turn
tower
into an
taking
armlet later.
damage.
Still building his Soul Ring. So it doesn't look too great for this Mars. Is last in CS. Still 31, not too bad. Would like to have a bit more. Willow also getting some mid XP. While the Ember Spirit's forced all the way back home. But he's got that DD rune in the bottle. I want to see if this Ember actually TPs for a rotation. He could go mid, continue farming, but he would love to use this DD.
Bot lane would really be tempting. Argus is up pretty far. But of course, that's also the harder kill with the Weaver there. Ideally, you wait until this LC overextends.
Yeah, top lane would be an option. You've got that value point picked up in Searing Chains. But Ember would like to be level 8 or level 9 to at least have 3 points in his slate. That cooldown with level 2 is pretty long. It's 14 seconds. And here we go. He is going for the rotation right now. He made a quick show in mid, but he didn't stay there. And now they're just waiting for Unknown to show up in the lane. However, they are not even nearby.
Yeah, they had wards watching his
They're in
entire
a honeymoon.
rotation. Oh yeah.
I wonder where they're going. What is their destination?
Well, this Weaver has in fact been making some stacks on top, and I think that after a quick detour in the normal jungle, they are going to be moving on towards the triangle.
Possibility. Dragonlance almost picked up. Ember Spirit back to mid. He's now got that DD rune active. Haste rune in the bottle. Does Willow have a smoke actually? Because yeah, she's gonna activate the smoke. They're gonna go for it.
Radiant's bottom tower
Just
is
a
being attacked.
little bit later than where you would want,
Yeah.
but
Sadly, under a ward. So
same
Unknown
ward.
knows about this. Very classic ward spot.
It's the same. Look at them.
Yeah, it's the
The
same thing
exact
over and
same
over again.
Trek outs.
Yeah. All right, honey, we're gonna miss our plane.
Radiant's bottom tower is being
Sorry, I am on the plane. Let's go.
I am the plane in case of the
I am the
gyrocopter.
plane.
Radiant's
Yeah.
bottom tower under fire.
Well, there's that. 2 rotations to bottom. Both times Io and Gyro have made their escape.
Radiant's bottom tower is being attacked.
I wonder if we get another sequel to this love story. It needs to be a
Saga.
trilogy.
I mean,
Radiant's bottom
I
tower
imagine that
under
they're going to be
fire.
holding hands for most of the game, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Radiant structures
I just want to have like an identical move again towards bottom, where they just run down tier 1 to tier 2 all the way back home, or at least into the jungle part, so we could get like a third.
I mean, we're laughing about it, but it's a lot of time wasted.
It is. It is. Sometimes it be like that.
Exactly. Like, as much as it feels like, oh no, the Ember Spirit didn't get them, he's not snowballing. It's like, well, he's still been hitting creeps. He's been clearing out camps. He's got the bottom tower. And this Io Gyro was mostly walking back and forth between the tier 1 and tier 2 while that was going on.
Yeah.
Never refuse.
Mars is now farming in front of a tier 2 tower at 10 minutes, so great place to be in. Bristleback Vanguard. He's not really going to take much of a scrap here from this gyrocopter, knowing this gyro is going for farm build instead of the rocket barrage max. So he's not even scared about confronting this gyrocopter at any part of this game. Pretty much, you could almost say.
This Bristleback, if he wants to outfarm the Gyro, he's going to have to play up. But because he is a Bristleback, he also has the tools. He can take a lot of lane farm that would be absolutely unthinkable for a fragile Gyrocopter. And honestly, both teams right now would really rather get their items and try and find an opening. Like this could very well become a bit farmy, because if you look at Unknown, look at the other cores that they have next to the gyrocopter. That's a Kunkka and an LC. Those are pretty hard to kill. And then the core is over on Interitus. We have this Ember Spirit, where we already talked about. He's very hard to catch this game. Their only real lockdown for this is the Jewel. But even so, he might not necessarily die if there's a Bane nearby. And a Mars. Neither of these two heroes die easily either. Nobody feels like making moves right now.
Yeah, 3 heroes who can potentially interrupt the duel if you add the Willow into the mix. So there's a lot of tools for sure.
Ooh, this Kunkka's building an Orchid.
I mean, someone's gotta, right? Looks like Orchid is really the name of the game here in this series. We've seen a lot of heroes building those. Not in every game do you see a Kunkka build the Orchid, so I understand the intrigue. Because it is a good item this game.
Step lively now. Your
It
admiral
is.
on board.
And it's actually later on, even though the Kunkka is not an ideal hero to actually walk up to the Bristleback, the Bloodthorn later on is going to be a very good tool in helping to take him down. But that's a long way off. For now, it's an Ember killing tool.
A tool to teach.
Your admiral
One
is
day
on
sorely
board.
needs.
White finds the haste room, takes it away from Hijack, who also intervenes. They have the X mark. Both connects on 2, hits the Willow 2. Vengeance coming in with full speed. Gets the press the attack on the Kunkka. Getting his health back. Meanwhile, the Bristleback has been he's been snotting around the place. So at least the Weaver is now going to move all the way back to the river. Taking a quick detour around the ancient stacks. They know there's a
Vengeance
big
once more.
juicy stack right there. D-Flash trying to isolate them right here. Gyrocopter getting slowed up, and Bristle still clearing the stack. Can they save this stack? Is it going to get contested by Unknown in the end? They just call down. They're going to take the fight here. He gets pinned to the only tree in the middle of the jungle. The dual connector as well, with the Bristle back on the run with 500 HP. Should be okay. Hijack has his spear ready in 2 seconds. Does he get the connection? Rayur looking for a feeling fling. He still has his tether available. He's going to have to wait for the initial initiation, and he gets bursted down with the spear. Venja still fighting here. He finds one. Can he get himself out of there? Because he's being chased by a lot of Interitus heroes, and doesn't look like this LC is going anywhere. Double kill for the Ember Spirit, and that's a 3 for 2 with the Bane coming back with a buyback.
The Bristle will happily take this over finishing the stack.
It also looked like he still got the majority of those creeps too, even with the call down from the Gyrocopter.
Absolutely. And this long fight, this is exactly what he likes. The fact that his team is hard to kill means that he has a lot of time to walk around, a lot of time to stack up all of those bristles. And he's going to be very close to his Aghanim Scepter right now. Just as close as the Gyrocopter is, actually, which is remarkable because he finished the Vanguard before it, and he's not going to be disassembling anything in order to get that item ready.
Step lively now. Your admiral is on board.
Well, they've got the Kunkka once again. At least keeping him away from the action rune, and that's juicy one.
Radiant's
It's gonna
bottom
be
tower is being
the
attacked.
double damage
Dire's
waiting in
top
the
tower
bottom
is
half of the
under
map, and the
siege.
Ember, thanks for
Dire's structures are
the opportunity to
fortified.
possibly use this. That's the second DD this game for him.
Dire's top
That's okay,
tower
he'll
is
use it to make the Aya Gyro walk back and forth between 2 towers.
The second part of the movie of
Dire's top tower is under
Lord of the Dota. I don't know.
Radiant's bottom tower under fire.
There was
Dota
a
of
lot
the
of walking
Rings.
in that movie.
Smoke pops on the Ember. He goes into the DD. Hijack is there. He does get the press the attack being used, but the spear comes after. Relocate save is there. Rocket connecting. Boat is there too. Mars might be in trouble. Nightmare save nicely thrown in by the Bane, but it's not going to be enough, is it? Because this Mars still gets killed. And the Ember Spirit, for a quick save there. Time lapse used by Moonlight and FCR. Trying to get some havoc done here, but what can a lone Bristleback do against 5? They even have a duel ready. This Bristleback, he's going to not get the duel victory, still staying alive, but he's not doing any damage with the spikes either. Even the neutrals are joining the party, and with that rocket, that should do it. And Arceus gets the kill, making it a pretty big team fight for Team Unknown. It took a while, but it's still theirs for the taking.
Quite a while. You can see how Interitus' strat works here, right? They focus the Bristle, and in the meantime, the Ember keeps sliding it. The problem is that he has a lot of damage to do before he's chewed through any of his opponents.
Bounty.
They really need either the Mars or the Willow to be there to do more damage.
damage was lacking. Bristleback's not ready, which is kind of surprising here when you're talking about a Bristleback 15 minutes into the game. That, wait, he's not ready? What's up with this? He's still not got that axe.
Always axe first, but it's... You're saying still here, but he's very farmed, actually.
Yeah.
Without this death, he would have had it right now, and that's a beautiful timing for it. He is going to be absolutely unstoppable for a while still.
I feel like if he had the Aghanims that last fight, that would have changed the whole dynamic, because he's applying the minus armor on even the squishiest heroes of Unknown while bombarding them with spikes.
And bombarding them with slights. There is really good internal synergy here.
Step lively
Yep,
now.
even some
Your
great
admiral's
rhymes,
on board.
potentially for, you know, maybe even an R&B hit song from Interitus.
Yeah. Listen, you're the play-by-play here. All of the wordsmithing is going to have to come from you.
Yeah, we'll have to see if we have a new rap god being built on the side of this Dire team. I wonder who's the one going to be spitting bars, or is it just going to be snot coming out of the nose from this Bristleback? But 8-5 on the scoreboard, 3k lead for Unknown. They've managed to pull themselves together pretty nicely after that first game. It feels like this team, it's still the same team. When usually you're talking about, like, you win a game 2 or win a game 3, you're like, they feel like a completely different team. Like, you know, like we've actually had some moments like that. But it's still the same team, but things are just working out better for them.
Yep, they seem to have their ducks in a row. More adherence to the strat.
Four-man smoke, though.
Very soon.
Gotta be careful with this. There is a blink on Mars. Who wants to use it? Feeling that's a prime opportunity and a perfect target, too. They take no second chances with that.
No tether away for you.
Moonlight should be able to run out. D-Flash, they've got their wards placed down in the middle of the jungle, enabling them to potentially catch some unknown heroes if they are a bit unlucky with their movements. FCR, the push on this tower. The rest of them hiding in the trees. Kunkka going for the X-Mark play. All you need is one good catch. And this Bristle isn't even taking damage from the Tidebringer. That's how strong this Bristle is.
There's absolutely no way Unknown can fight 5v5 right now. They're just chipping away, making sure they're out farming. I really do not advise them to take this fight. They want to, but
Yep, they want to turn him around. Oh, what a beautiful arena! Landed by Hijack! He's got 4, but is it going to be enough? FCR needs to keep on snotting, keep on throwing that snot on them to get the minus armor in. Benjis is down. They're going to take down Feeling, looking for the double roots as well, and so the Kunkka's down. Arceus falling as well, and a beautiful team fight from Interitus. How could it just land so nicely into their arms? 4-man arena. And this Mars, he's really pulling up some big stakes here. And with this Weaver using time-lapse, he's able to get out. But Roshan will go down as well to Interitus. What a recovery, man.
beautifully done. I mean, that was still pretty hard to pull off. Even if they're the stronger team right now, you could see how close most of their heroes were to dying. But it's really all about the last 20% of HP, because once the heroes of Interitus are at that point, that's where the slight and the minus armor have started to stack, have started to work out. And you could see Unknown at the end of the fight, one hero after another melting because of that build-up. And this was exactly why I wanted them to just let that tower go. Don't do it. That Bristle has an axe, he's scrapping for a fight, and you're giving it to him.
Yeah, Bristleback really enjoying all the attention that he was gaining there with rockets flying towards, gets hit by the torrent, and as soon as they were like, we're just a couple steps and we're gonna get there, press the attack on the LC, and that was the go sign. That was the green light for the Mars. Now you can go. And Hijack has really been one of the best players in this entire series. If you look at either team, he's been playing so good. And Jazz looking for the duel. Oh, the Ember Spirit's already used a slight, and now D-Flash got the Nightmare on the Legion, and they're thinking about it. They're actually thinking about it because they can. Looking for the LC inside the arena. That is a dead Benjaz. He didn't get the initiation. He got initiated on.
Read like a book.
Comforting wound of regeneration.
And you can see the switch here for Unknown, by the way, because this was not another team fight attempt. This was a pick-off. Like, alright, fine, we don't want to fight the Bristle, we just want to kill somebody and get out. Versus the Bang, Soul, playing with the Soul Initiator, I was saying it all the way back in the draft, it's not
Radiant's
good.
bottom tower under fire.
You're going to get caught, you're going to get
Dire's
punished.
top tower is being attacked.
And now they're between a rock and a hard place. They can't team fight and they can't pick off.
Radiant's bottom tower has fallen.
Soul even changed his itemization from the Orchid to Sanj and BKB. Look at that spear and the Fiend script. They don't even use the Terrorize for this. I'm going to use Bedlam instead. Might as well punch a couple holes into this Kunkka while we're at it. So that being another, it's now Interitus with a 3k net worth lead. They've been behind in the early minutes. They were behind this entire second game, and they're back in the lead. It's been a while.
Radiant's middle
They got it.
Dire's top
This
tower
Gyrocopter is trying to stay on top here with all of the damage. He's got a Chrysalis, and he's actually going to look to finish off just a full Daedalus. He knows that he's got to hit hard. You can't just spam out Flax and hope this Bristle is going to die. You need to be able to murder somebody immediately in order for this fight to not take long, but it is so risky. No defensive items for him. Waiting for the Satanic,
Radiant's middle tower
and instead
has
going
fallen.
full glass cannon.
True. And you do have the IO who buffs you with attack speed, so with the overcharge, at least this Gyrocopter can go for a damage item first. Because you're getting the auras from your allies. Just like when he was playing Medusa in the last game. He had the Ogre to buff him up. Now he's got the IO who does almost the same thing. At least some similarities.
Better.
But their high ground is in trouble.
This Bristle has no reason to back off.
Nowhere else he would rather be instead of sieging this tier 3 tower. Still 1400 HP remaining, tanking the tower happily. X-Mark and the Torrent is a bit, but the Nightmare save. So he won't even take that bit of damage. Doesn't allow Unknown to even look for a quick duel or anything.
They don't want to kill him either. Like, he is at his best when he's at 0 mana and low HP. As far as Unknown is concerned, right? It's like if they kill him, he comes back.
Hold
They
out.
have
That's the
to.
initiation call. They're going to get a duel victory for Benjaz. Now you have to go for another one. And another 3-man arena from Hijack. And the Terrorize is even better with the Fiend script on the low ground onto the LC. And Benjaz ain't moving anywhere. They've lost the IO. They're in trouble of losing their LC. They shall. And a time lapse being used by the Weaver. So Moonlight's not even falling. Hijack, he might have gone a bit too deep, but he makes sure that he gets the spear out with his dying breath to get that one hero down. And that being the Gyrocopter is a huge loss. Buybacks from the Weaver and the IO. And Interitus, they are still with 4 in the high ground. And you guessed it, Bristleback still there.
Yep. That beautiful counter initiation from Hijack again. This man knows his jumps.
Hijack has been playing out of his mind and continues to do so. Now with the melee racks going down, they've already dealt the damage. They don't have to stay here any longer.
Dire's top tower is under siege.
Patch yourself back up again and go again. Like, there is really no reason right now for Interitus to stop. They just have to take care of their lane situation. They gotta unleash some wards and set up another situation, ideally in the enemy triangle next. And there's still nothing this Gyrocopter can do to contest him. He has the Daedalus now, but you can see how fast he dies when he gets caught in that arena. And the Aya really should not be there with him. And that's the dilemma that he's got right now. If he wants to be able to stand on the front line, the Io needs to already be connected, because if you go in too late, that Gyrocopter's dead. But on the other hand, if you want to be able to save him out of an arena, then the Io needs to not be in the arena with him, or he's just going to get slapped down by that Ember Spirit, as we saw in the high ground fight.
There's a potential that this game is still in the hands of Unknown. But they're going to have to start making some changes with these team fights. Sadly, Interitus is not really applying any weakness, or showing any signs of weakness, more like, if you put it that way. Since it's so hard to find these gaps, these openings, when they're all together like that. The only target who's showing is the Bristleback, which you need to deal with. And if you do go for it, Hijack's gonna get a good ulti. Bane's gonna Fiend script a very high priority target too, so they've got their answers. It's like they're reading, you know, the most interesting book, and they understand it right away what's going on. They're like, I understand the plot after 2 pages of checking this out.
Oh. It's Argus. Argus did it.
We are really telling the story here of this honeymoon book.
Yeah.
It's not going in a good direction though for Argus. Well, on top, that's a dead weaver. It's just another routine mission.
They were angling for him for like a minute now. Somebody has to be on these lanes, showing to shove them out. And you'd much rather have it be your Weaver than your Kunkka.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
So yeah, burrow down another lane. I don't see any reason for Interitus to stop running. They all have full mana, full health. They're, well, I guess they're not quite stocked up on sentries, so they can't do anything about this high ground ward just yet. But there is a big possibility that Unknown can't fight them, even when they have the vision advantage.
Well, at least Gyrocopter packs a bit of a punch now with this Axe plus Daedalus. If he's got the attack speed buff from Feeling, do you think it's going to be enough to at least kill the Willow and the Bane and maybe open up the team fight from there? Because they need to get those 2 heroes out of the way. Elsie's kind of like, I need to duel the Bane, but then I'm going to get speared by the Mars or somebody else. It's like there's always 2 or 3 conditions that are going to happen if the LC decides to go for anything else than what they're doing currently.
Like, ideally, you'd need a BKB on the LC, but there's just no way she's going to get the farm. So they do have one on the Kunkka in order to make those arenas a little bit less devastating. But it's still very rough not being able to afford BKBs because you have so many other things that you need to buy. Like, Unknown's not happy about that right now.
Yeah. Not to even mention, we haven't really seen any relocate saves because people are just dying too fast, and the IO doesn't want to let go of this Gyrocopter, which is also another factor. He is close to that Satanic.
Damned if you don't. I am a little bit surprised that Interitus not continuing to barrel down this top section of the map, though, especially not now that they have covered that triangle. They are waiting for the Roshan, but I think they could be able to hold their position a little bit more aggressively. Like this Weaver is already 1 wave too far up. It's not allowed to be there. And they're gonna come to kick him out again.
Behold.
Yeah. Bug detected.
I think the
like
bug detected them first.
Yeah. Could also be. He's gonna be able to TP back home. That also opens up with all that information given into the top lane. Unknown might be able to get this tier 1 tower in bottom. That would be the last tier 1 tower. So that's a little bit of extra gold. The supports are very gracious about that because they don't really have that much in this game. Mechanism on the IO. The Weaver with a Vessel. 1 piece towards Aghanims. To be honest, Moonlight with Aghanims can actually make a huge difference in this game because then there's 1 more thing for Interitus to worry about. And Roche is just spawned too, so that's also pretty prime timing.
Yep, a little bit late to the likings of Interitus most likely, but still, if you put this Aghanims, or sorry, excuse me, if you put this Aegis over on FCR and you can probably also give him the Shard, he is going to be an absolute monster. Spitting hairballs and snot all over the place.
I found a Weaver. It's a Fiend script. That's a Fiend script being used. It's been a couple attempts. Second time they catch the Weaver in the top lane. And that is also Ember Spirit picking up the Shard. So we got the Remnant damage. And also if somebody dies nearby, you get another charge. Very nice to have when you have both the Aghanims, the Shard and the Stick.
There's a little bit of a poor man's refresh. Like to see the hairballs though, but I guess FCR is big enough as he is. They have the AC ready, so now finally this Bristleback, we saw him sort of chipping at these towers before. That is no longer the case. He can tear through them.
top tower is being attacked.
Well, they're now working their way towards that tier 3 in the top lane. Arceus is in the front. Satanic, Daedalus. This is when we're looking at Unknown being between a rock and a hard place, but they have to be the rock. Look at the damage dealt by FCR. This gyrocopter already went down to minus 25 armor in just a matter of seconds. Instantly forced to go away.
Only gets saved by the upgraded Crusty attack from the LC there.
So much minus armor. Gyrocopter doesn't have anything left. That's just the AC and 3 stacks of snot.
Yep, ticking him down to nearly 0. It is brutal to fight this.
Very papery gyrocopter. Not much that they could do there against that push. Range rack's gone. Now they only have mid racks as a whole. 1 range racks on the side, 1 melee racks on the side.
At the very least, this Bristle keeps on running out of mana. That's one thing that this build just does not provide. Normally you see something like maybe a Lotus Orb or something like that, but...
Batteries are low.
Yep.
Recharge. Okay, there. Oh, nice Lincoln's play there. Actually catching the Bristle back there. The duel going on it. And Ryord going with a bit of a dive here. They've got the fear from the Terrorize, and Willow diving a high ground too. FCR picks already a double kill. They got the Vipers coming in from Feeling and from Benjaz. BKB also pop with the Conka. Soul has his X mark still on cooldown for a couple more seconds. Now the Gyrocopter trying to go for a bit of vengeance here, but still FCR making moves, and Ryord, he makes his way back. They've got the Weaver, and there's the Arena from a hijack, and they will catch the Feeling. Io is dead. He's gone completely. So is the Conka. Vengeance will fall and make that another casualty with Moonlight falling on the Weaver. And there you go. That's the lone target. The Gyrocopter. He might be able to kill one hero. That is the Willow, but it's not gonna be enough as he and the Weaver, oh, they're just basically staring into the sun at this point because it hurts. And Interitus, they secure a team fight victory from themselves. Maybe keep on going inside the base too, because that melee racks, it is now history.
And now FCR is just going to look to die. He still has an Aegis.
Yeah, he doesn't mind. He doesn't care at this point. He just goes straight away. Goes all the way to the finish line. 200 HP to go. Even the Gyrocopter is actually not even getting this kill. And FCR, he just keeps on going, and he just refuses to give up. And finally he dies to the tier 4 tower getting the kill. Flash farm, and the sprays onto the ground. The statement has been made. And Interitus, 1 more lane of racks to go.
That lifesteal, like, Paladin's Sword is an item in the game of Dota 2, guys. That's the reason why FCR doesn't die there. 8% spell lifesteal plus the 16% regular lifesteal is enough to hold up versus a Gyrocopter.
Yeah. He's be working wonders here because this Bristleback is just so hard to focus on. And while he is up, he's still becoming stronger and stronger. He's got not only his own stacks, but he's reducing your armor the whole time. The spikes are making more damage. There's the duel, but look at how minuscule of an effect it does have, because his Bristle's now down to half HP, and they've already lost 2 heroes at the cost of the duel. And the GG call comes out from Unknown. Interitus, despite giving map 2 away, they clear out this series, and they take the victory 2-1. And I have to say, this draft, really hard to go up against, with this Bristleback in the front just being an absolute unit. Interitus, they secure it with very convincing style. They had the front line that never broke.
Absolutely, that was really enjoyable. Sometimes when you see these Bristlebacks, you're scared like, oh, he's going to spend his entire time farming this Aghanim Scepter and he's going to turn up, they're going to get one good fight out of it, and then he's going to get pushed out of the game. But this was snowball from start to finish. Very impressed by how FCR held that front line, because it's hard to play a Bristleback and squeeze the max out of it. It is one of the heroes actually that if you look up the stats of what players, on which heroes does experience pay off the most in terms of win rate, Bristleback is one of those heroes because you don't have any disables. All you have is a big fat body and you need to put it in the right place. And FCR did that beautifully. And big ups to the rest of his team as well. We've been praising Hijack, but both of the supports interrupting any chance that unknown team had at getting a good team fight in as well.
Mm-hmm.
Altogether, I do think that they show themselves here to be the more versatile team. Unknown team is very good at their one strat, and gave that several different meanings throughout the series, but in the end, Interitus looks to be the more flexible and creative one.
Yeah, for Team Unknown, that was their first map win of their DPC run so far. But for Interitus, that is their second series victory, now pushing them up to 2-1. And sharing a first place with Infinity and Balrogs, which is actually going to be played out tomorrow between those two teams. So we're going to be deciding who actually gets to keep the lead of the S8 Division 2. However, we are closing the broadcast with just this one series today. So, as mentioned, do make sure you tune in tomorrow at the same time for Infinity versus Balrogs. It's going to be a pretty hype series because we're talking about the leaders of the groups playing up against each other already on week 2. So, what can we actually maybe throw in as a bit of flavor considering this series? Because Balrogs came from the closed qualifier, and they've been looking really good.
Balrogs are my favorites to take the top spot here, and I'd really love to see them play versus Interitus now as well. And we're going to have to make do with Infinity for now, which will also be quite the brawl, I imagine.
I would say as well. But until then, I hope you guys have enjoyed the cast and the game so far. We shall return tomorrow with T-Panda and Kips again on the commentary. So thank you for watching today, and we shall see you tomorrow. Until then, take care of yourselves. Good night, and bye-bye.